What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Fitbiz Podcast. I am excited here with a solo episode, something I want to share with you all around 10 lessons that I've learned in entrepreneurship over the last 10 years. So it was, I'll never forget it, February 9th, 2013, when I took my first online fitness client. Her name was Cheyenne. She was a complete pain in my ass. She never listened to anything that I said. I learned so much from her, and that will be like an episode for another day. And we've done many mistakes episodes. But as I was just thinking and reflecting back on 10 years of entrepreneurship, I thought I would just piece together 10 lessons. And I think this episode will be really valuable for you no matter where you're at on your journey, because basically what I've tried to do is separate it between like day one in the first year advice in your business, and then the second section is like what to do after year one, and then the third section is somewhere between like either year one and year three or year two and year five type of advice. So if you're further along in your business, I want you to listen to every single one because it'll make you trust me, first off. And you'll be listening and you'll be like, yep, I've already learned that. I've already learned that. That's been a lesson. And then you'll have more buy-in to the later lessons. Or maybe some of this has gone out of order for you. Maybe your business has been built in a less conventional way or something. And so there is magic in all of the lessons. And sometimes, you could just use a reminder of some of the things you've already learned once, but if you hear it from then my perspective and have to learn it again and don't have to live it again, that's what I'm here for. So cool, let's dive in. 10 lessons in order. So lesson number one, lesson I would give someone, or yeah, I guess a lesson, piece of advice I'd give somebody day one of starting their business is start before you're ready. If I go back to my day one in taking my first online client, I had no systems, no idea how to run a business. I had someone saying, hey, can you help me? And the answer was yes. So I felt as though I had an obligation to do that. So you're never going to feel entirely ready. Everything's not going to be perfect. And in fact, if you're on your edge of like, oh, I don't know if I should be doing this yet, that's perfect. That's right where you need to be. It will always feel like that in business. So starting before you feel totally ready or qualified, or you have enough certifications behind your name, or whatever stupid excuse that you are using to hold you back. Oftentimes we look at it as perfectionism, but really perfectionism is just a fancy form of procrastination. And yeah, so starting before you're ready, number one. Number two, having good systems before you get too far in business. So scaling without systems is going to work you into a minimum wage job. You've heard us talk about minimum wage entrepreneurship. Having bad systems takes 3 times as long to do anything, and you'll never be able to hire people. And in the beginning, you're not thinking about hiring people, right? You're thinking about just starting your own business. But this will lead into a lesson that I have for you later. But you have to start thinking about the business as an actual business from day one. So what do I mean by systems? I don't just mean Trainrise or how you deliver programming. I mean, how do you onboard? How do you collect payment? What is your training programming? That's part of it. But then like, how does your business actually run? Could you explain it to someone in a way that they could actually take it and run it? Or is the whole thing built in your head? Because I promise you, if you are not systems minded, like I wasn't, you're going to make a mess for yourself in years 2, 3, 4, 5. And if this is something you want long term, then just start doing it right from the very beginning. Trust me, have systems. And you can also pay people to give you their systems that are proven rather than having to figure it out on your own. Number 3, this one seems very convenient because I own a mentorship company and I'm going to tell you to hire mentors. But seriously, man, it's never ever too soon. It's only too soon if you don't value your time. So if you think you're going to live forever, maybe don't hire mentors. But if you value your time and you would like to buy back more time, whether that's to spend with your family or you just want to get there faster, right? Maybe you want to retire at 40 and not 65 and have to, only have the remaining 25 years of your life to actually enjoy it, or 30 years, or however long you're blessed to have. If you value your time, you can speed up time. We live in this awesome era where we have the internet and access to everybody and everyone's knowledge and information and experience, and we can pay people for that to speed it up. And I was stupid. I waited 4 years to do that. Like I mentioned, I started my business in February of 2013. It took me until 2017 until I was able to swallow my pride and go, There are people who are doing this faster than me, who are making more money than me. I know they're not working as hard as me, or at least I know they're not working harder. I felt that because I was in a rat race with no systems, didn't really know what I was doing, didn't understand. I figured out sales and marketing on my own. But I didn't understand things like LTV and how to keep customers and how to make customers worth more and all this stuff that would have made my life so much easier. And there were people in the industry who had figured it out. So finally in 2017, I made my first $10,000 investment 4 years after struggling on my own. And I was like, why didn't I do this sooner? Oh my God. So if I could just impart one thing on you, it's just to hire people for help. Spend the money so that you don't have to spend the time. Time is more valuable than money, I promise. Time you can always get back. Time you can never get back. Money you can always make more of, right? So therefore it makes time the more valuable resource. Wish I would have heard this podcast 10 years ago when I started. And honestly I don't, because I wouldn't have freaking listened, but if I were a different person, I wish I would have heard this and I wish I would have taken the advice. So please, if you're on the fence, just hire, just stop trying to figure it out on your own. It's a really stupid way to go about things. So that's my 1 year advice. Do all of that. Hell, that's my 90-day advice. If you have started a business less than 3 months ago, do those things. Start before you're ready, have good systems, hire people to help you. Now, as we move a little bit further down the line in your business, here's some advice that I have to you a bit later on. Okay, so number 4, you have to work in the business and on the business in the beginning. So what does that mean? Learning sales is an example. So that's something that you might not want to do. It might not even be something that, let's say you're an IFCA, it might not even be something that is in your 3-foot view or that is a module for you to go and watch. It's the actual nitty-gritty skill development, which is harder a lot of times. And we don't even think about that as working on our business. But it's really easy to just get wrapped up in, okay, here's the next thing right in front of me, the next thing to be reactive. So we must absolutely have time to work in the business, but also on the business. And on the business, not just in terms of driving leads, but looking at the true constraints and saying, what can I do to get better at this? How do I get better at this? If you're in IFCA, we're happy to answer those questions. And if we continue to follow the example of sales, I make it super easy for you. On Wednesdays, bring your last sales call that you bombed to my open office hour call. I'll review the whole entire thing. I'll play the recording. I'll give you feedback. But it's that kind of stuff, right? It's so much easier to just kind of go through the motions and think, oh, here's a new client and I need to do the training program for them. And how can I make their experience better and blah, 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 blah. Yes, that stuff's important, but that's working in the business. And you're never going to grow the thing if you don't take time to actually work on the business. Number 5, I'm going to say this one a couple of times. This is going to be one that you're going to be like, doesn't resonate. But in a year, you're going to be like, that's what Erin meant. So you have to think like a big business before you are a big business. Because eventually you're going to need to hire and spend money on things like marketing. And if your service is priced too low, you're not going to have the margin for that. So this is the number one reason companies go out of business, because they're small and they think like a small business, which is only okay for a little bit of time. But there's a reason that majority of small businesses go out of business, because they don't think like big businesses. So if you were able to start right now and say, okay, what if I had to hire a virtual assistant and an assistant coach and an onboarding director, and I had to have a labor budget, and my labor budget was, let's call it, actually, here, I'll just give you a little tip. What is good labor budget in our industry is about 30%. If you're 30%, you're awesome. If you're at 40, let's look at your P&L and let's talk about it and kind of decide why. But if you're over 40, what that means is you're not going to have money to invest in marketing. And eventually, unless you have an audience of 1 million followers, you're going to have to invest in marketing. We don't have our students invest in paid media right away, because usually it's an offer and a position problem if they can't get organic traffic. Organic can take you really, really far. But eventually, whether it's, something happens that's outside of our control with Facebook and Instagram and we don't have organic anymore, or your pipeline just runs dry, eventually you're going to have to invest in paid marketing. So think like a big business, think like a real business. So you'll need about 20% of a budget to go into marketing. what happens if your service is underpriced, your labor is 60%, your overhead is 10%, or I'd like to see overhead be more around like 5% in our industry. We don't really have anything other than subscriptions and stuff. You don't have 20% to invest in marketing. So you're screwed. You're out of business. You can't get more leads because you didn't plan appropriately. So that's just one small example, but always saying, where do I need it? Where am I thinking small and where should I be thinking bigger? And that's where pricing your services comes in from the beginning. Number 6, all I'm going to say is taxes. Understand them. Understand them at every level of the game that you're playing. Taxes for me have been a $30,000 mistake, and they've been probably a $400,000 mistake, depending on the tax year, just because I didn't understand the level of the game that I was playing. I didn't understand it when I first started, and then I didn't understand once we had multi-million dollars in bottom line. So just understand taxes. If you don't understand taxes, I highly suggest partnering with a CPA who understands your industry. If you need recommendations, if you're an IFCA student, we have really awesome people that we trust that we can funnel you to, and come on my calls and we can help you a lot with that as well. I love that shit because it's a really easy way to keep a lot of your money that you're working really hard for, because you get up into the higher tax brackets and you're giving a lot of that away. Even in the lower tax brackets, nobody wants to give away 15% of their income if you can keep it. So that's number 6. Number 7, this is where we're getting into the further away years of advice. So number 7, here's another one. I want you to sit with it. Think about it. And again, you're probably not going to understand it until you're a little bit further in business, but I want you to understand that good is the enemy of great. You can be doing okay, and that can be the thing that really holds you back. I personally never thought, I'm going to leave my corporate job, become an entrepreneur, and create a multi-million-dollar company. That was literally never a thought. I had no evidence of anyone around me that it was even possible. Never thought, especially, that I could do it. But we oftentimes think, well, things are good. So how much better could they be? I ran a multiple 6-figure company for a little while, and I thought, well, things are good. So why would I invest in mentorship? Hell, I swear to God, if my 9-to-5 job would have just paid me like 10 grand more, I would have been like, things are good. Things are fine. I'll just stay here. This is all I really expected anyway. I expected to have a job where I could pay the bills and things are good. I can afford everything I want. But man, what if it could be great? What if you just don't know what's on the other side? And what if your small-mindedness of this is what my friends or my parents or whoever is doing, what if that's the thing that's stopping you? Because you just don't know. Because everybody who is achieving great things, they're no different. They're not special. They just went for it. They just kept saying, well, what if? What if I got more help? What if I hired the next mentor? What if I learned this thing? What if I hired this person? What if I stopped being scared? So this is one that, I think you can always sit and say, am I settling for good right now? Even if good feels great to you, good is the enemy of great. I wish I would have been told that one 10 years ago. I wish I would have been told it 5 years ago. Hell, I wish I would have been reminded last year. I think we can always use that continual reminder. That's number 7. Number 8 is you are not your business. Boy, this is one that comes up a lot, especially for people who've been in business for a little while, because you start to have some success and it feels good, and then you attach your whole identity to that thing. And if it fails, what does it mean? It means I'm a failure. No. If you operate from that place, you will become a failure. But it doesn't have to be that way. So if someone says no on a sales call, it doesn't mean anything. All it means is you probably need better sales skills, and you probably missed something along the way, and you can get better at that. And guess what? That's always a thing in business, literally always. If your revenue dips, it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean you suck. Doesn't mean you are no longer relevant. Doesn't mean that people don't like you on Instagram. Doesn't mean that because you gained 10 pounds, no one trusts you anymore. You know what it probably means? It probably means you need better acquisition strategies. And even more, it probably means you need to understand LTV. You probably are focused on the stupid wrong things. You're probably just thinking, I need more clients. And your offer probably sucks, and you could probably make your clients worth more, and you could probably have a back-end offer that made much more sense, and you could probably stop being the dancing bear and attracting new clients all of the time. Goodness, I could give you so many examples of this, one of them being Vanessa Gillette in Legacy, who did $720K in revenue last year, and she brings in 2 to 3 new clients every single month. How is she possibly able to do that? Because she retains her clients, because she's priced appropriately, because she understands what her LTV, lifetime customer value, is. She just understands business. It's not like, well, she's awesome and you suck, or she's in great shape and you're not, or the stupid things we attach to the outcome of our business, right? Like, you are not your business. You are a human who just needs to learn skills about how to run a business. And when things fail in business, you just don't have that skill yet. Then it's okay. And if you can detach your outcome from the success and attach it to getting better and growth and the thing that you need to work on, you're going to operate from such a better place of growth and leadership and confidence. Because when you start to think, man, this thing in business is failing, I'm failing, I suck, you show up that way. And if you think that, your prospects are going to think it. Hate to break it to you, but it's just how it's going to come across in your content. So how do you remain confident? You continue to learn, and you detach your personal worth and value from your business. Got that one? That's a big one. I hope you just like, if you're like, man, I do that, and I get so upset if I have a revenue dip or I miss a sales call or whatever, I want you to go ahead and hit the rewind button right now and re-listen to that, because that's huge. And this isn't like a lesson that you're going to hear and take away. You might need to listen to that every day for a little while, because you cannot operate from that place. Number 10, I like this one a lot. I want you to assume you always don't know what you don't know. Never stop searching for a new solution. It's really, really easy to have some success, get some help, and then go, awesome, cool, I'm good. I know how to run a business now. Guess what? I don't know how to run a business. 10 years into running a business, and I don't know how to run a business, because as the business grows, why would I? Last year I knew how to run a business of a certain size. If the business gets bigger this year, how would I know how to run the business of that size? There are going to be new problems. There's a statistic that is like, every time your business 3X's, all of your systems break. And I've seen that. I've lived it over and over and over. And imagine if I was still trying to go off of the same advice when I first started 10 years ago, 5 years ago, now with a totally different system or totally different size of business. And even if the business size was the same, in online fitness coaching, the industry changes so rapidly because there's such low barrier to entry. So anytime there's low barrier to entry, which there is in our industry, anyone can pop online tomorrow and say, I'm an online fitness coach. There's no governing body, nobody's stopping them. So anyone can hop in there and do it. Anytime there's low barrier to entry means that there's high innovation. Being a creator on social media, there's low barrier to entry. Anybody with the app can do it. So there's high innovation. These apps and technology, everything is changing rapidly. So if you think the advice that you got 6 months ago is relevant today, sorry, it's not. And if you're like, well, that sucks. Well, why don't we think about why does that suck? Because you don't want to continue to grow and learn, right? Attach yourself to the growth and you will continue to build a thriving business. So always assume you don't know what you don't know. And I'll give you a little example of a time that this bit me in the ass recently. I just wasn't asking enough questions. We paid way more than we needed to in terms of taxes. And I was just like, well, that's just probably the way it is. I didn't ask. Just assume, well, it is the way it is. I've never been here before, so I'm just going to assume it is the way it is. Have you ever done that? And I started asking. I said, is this the way it is? I started asking to people who own businesses that were bigger than me. And they said, actually, did you do this and this and this? And I'm like, no, I didn't know that was a thing. Because how would I know that was a thing? Because I've never been here before, right? So just always assume you don't know what you don't know. Never, ever stop looking for solutions at every level. Is this how I do this? Is this the best way to do this? Is this an outdated way to do this? Is there a better way to do this? If you continue to do that, not only will you succeed, but entrepreneurship stays really fun. You've got to be in it for the love of the game. You've got to be in it because you really love to grow as a human. And some days, every day actually, you're going to do things you hate. And it's part of it. And that is also just a part of life. So if you can become attached to the, man, last year at this time, there's no way I would have been able to have that conversation or do that, or I wasn't that person. I didn't have the character traits, or my whole belief system is so differently, or my communication style. And if you can just become obsessed with that growth, you're going to crush it. So those are my 10 pieces of advice, taking you from day one as an entrepreneur to where I am today, 10 years in. Actually, like 10 years and 17 days at the time of this recording of the podcast. It's been a journey. I have fucking loved it. And the only way you're going to love it is if you just continue to seek growth and seek help and just stay along for the ride. Stay detached from the outcomes. Stay obsessed with getting better. So hopefully that was helpful, fam. If it was, do me a favor, please. Screen record this, shoot me a DM, put it on your story, and share with me, if you shoot me a DM, share with me specifically what you took out of it. That feedback is insanely helpful, and I just went over 10 years of just what's in my brain, and I know some of it's probably relevant, some of it's probably not relevant. I would love to expand on anything that I can help with, anything along the way. This has not been an easy journey for me. I don't think it is for anybody, and I would just love to make yours a little bit easier if I can. So, all right, guys, thanks for listening. See you in the next episode.